Ready, set. Show me what you got.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So my name's Dwayne,
I'm Hannah.
Alexis.
Lane.
and then Cody's not here today.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
where's Cody?
He's not here.
So this is a little bit background about the Central Elementary School we got from the website. And how many students here? You know better than us. So, but this
Yeah.
is, I think the was 2009 data based on.
Right. And right now, just so you know, go back, we have 700, we counted this fall, we have 737 kids.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you want it accurate, but that's preschool through
Okay.
fourth
Oh,
grade.
okay.
Okay.
Very nice. That's a lot.
Yeah, so basically we divided into 5 different modules. And
Okay.
then we interviewed 5 different staffs to
Okay.
conduct with all different areas. And this is just what we did and then who we talked with
All right.
for what part.
So module 1, this was Cody's. This one was similar to my module 3, or module 5.
Okay.
And it was about the school health and safety. A lot of it, for example, like the playground safety, how well that was done. We kind of looked at 3 areas, or 4 like points. We did fully in place, which
Okay.
is the best. And we did like, these are just some of the ones that we had for this module.
Mhm.
It was good to see like maintain safe physical environment. And the development on asthma was one thing I talked to the nurse about.
Mhm.
And she said that there's not really a specific like class to teach all the students,
Right.
but they learned from, I guess, experience around with just the kids that have asthma in the building. And yeah, next one. It was just, they kind of just picked it up as they went.
Okay. Oh, go back. I want to know what's underdeveloped and what we could do better.
One thing that we looked at was tobacco use, which is an example, but it's kind of hard to look at tobacco in such a young age. So we really thought that was kind of just underdeveloped. But
Yeah.
I looked at the staff and development on unintentional injuries and violence. We didn't see a lot of like classes for the teachers to prevent these, I guess. The weaknesses that Cody had said, I know the tobacco is there, but development of communication to students and parents about like health lacks, about weight, and just little stuff in health around the school, and then again the unintentional injuries, violence, and suicide.
Okay.
We try to give recommendations for what you guys should do. A visitor sign-in sheet, something that everyone has to do. But is that in place
We do.
here? Is that okay?
Everybody has this.
I understand. Yeah. Just try to prepare the staff for situations where there's violence, bullying, and stuff like that, more with the class. And then routine maintenance around. You guys had really good maintenance around this building, but just keep the playground safe and the gym and stuff like that. Health education, what we had fully in place, it was good standing at about 61%, 26 out of 42 points on our grading scale. The fully in place health education taught in all grades, active learning and opportunities to practice, professional development and health education, and essential topics on physical activity and health and weight and stuff like that. Under development was assignments encourage students to interact with family and community. Try to get family involved more than anything. And then we'll skip tobacco again. Next one. Some of the recommendations for this module have lesson plans for the students, like a national standards, classroom management training, professionals should have more training in classroom, and continuous evaluations of the students and the teachers. And then again, integrate the parents in the community, get the parents more involved in everything.
When you say classroom management, what are you referring to?
I would say get the students more involved in everyday activities. Try to have like a center of learning where, but almost where all the students learn together more than anything.
And are you talking, is this specific to PE?
This, the one that
Or are you talking K-4? I mean, regular classroom?
throughout, more than just PE.
Okay.
Now, this is the one that I did. It was good standing. I got an 80% for the points out of this one. I talked to Tori Shahidi, and what I found when I talked to her is the consistent curriculum, and then also students were active. I walked in for a little bit in a class, and the students were always active. It seemed like they were more than 50%. I would say almost 80 or more. And the teachers avoided student inactivity like that again. Underdeveloped, one thing that she said was the lack of physical education throughout the week. And then also, when it comes to students being active through the school throughout the week, it wasn't the best. And then one other thing was, she talked about the teacher and student ratio. She said that there could be maybe another teacher or someone that would help. The recommendation that I had was try to have volunteers come in, help the PE teacher. When I came in, there was a student, I think he was doing maybe an internship or something like that. And that was nice to see where he could help also. And then also maybe if teachers aren't doing anything, they'd come in with their classroom and help them. Sorry about that. What's that?
That was like the fastest 11% I've ever seen. My computer does the same.
I charged it before I came to. I was just sitting in the bag, I guess, on. One thing that I also looked at and talked to her about was having more outside space. She said that the green area that's out there right now,
It's not green.
it's going to be
Brown.
and they're going to tar it over. Is that what I heard?
Well, in our 5-year plan, we looked at blacktopping it because it just isn't, there's so little time of the year that it's actually usable.
Okay.
It's either mud
Yeah.
or, I mean, it just, our kids aren't, they don't get to be on it just because
It was
they'd be
making
knee
worse.
deep in mud.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've talked about asphalting it.
Okay.
Okay, so module 4, this was my module, nutrition services, and I spoke with Candy Anderson. And it was really good standing in this area, 86%. It, pretty much all of the aspects it looked at, it met almost all of those requirements, such as breakfast and lunch programs. It offered all types of milk, except whole, of course. Just like a lot of different options. The ones that were partially in place was a variety of food, and also promoting healthy food and beverage choices, whether it's in the classroom or the cafeteria. So in order to increase variety of food in school meals, I'm sure that there's some reason why there's only one option a day. When you get to middle school and high school, you have, you have your set meals per day, but in elementary school, it's like, this is what you're gonna have, basically. So something they can do to fix this is just encourage the students and parents. Do you guys hand out a lunch menu, a monthly lunch menu?
It's online.
Online too?
And it's in the newsletter. It goes
In
to
the
everybody, every post.
Right. So basically just encourage those students and parents, if they don't like what's being offered that specific day, pack a lunch and just try to stress the importance of having all the different food groups. So basically what they would be offered in the school lunch but bring it from home. That way kids are still getting their nutritional needs, even if they don't like what's being offered. So other than that, yeah, like I said, it pretty much met all of the other requirements. One other thing that it didn't really meet was a la carte, but I just feel as an elementary student, I wouldn't want to send my
Yeah.
kid to school with money to
Thank
buy
you.
ice cream.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just keeping track of the money.
pretty much.
Module 5, I also did this one. I talked to Lisa Davis, the school nurse. I thought this was a really good one. There was 93% scored. Fully in place was the health and safety promotion for students and families. One thing that she was specific about was also keeping track of everyone who has asthma, who has a disease, and then letting those teachers know. And I thought that was really good. And then also she talked about talking to not only teachers but like the PE teacher, just in case there was a student with a physical activity need that they couldn't do for that day or throughout the year. Partially in place, collaborate with the staff. When it comes to having like a doctor's meeting or having a parent come in with the nurse, she wanted to more collaborate with the staff and everyone make sure everyone knows what's going on throughout the day. One other thing was the community resources. She would like to have more community resources come to the school or have students go out there. With that said, I would recommend to meet with like the community resources like YSS, have them come in, maybe do a little skit for the students, or have the students go on a field trip and go out there to just experience what it's like out there.
And just so you know, they deliver
they?
2 programs in
Okay.
in our building.
Awesome. And then last was asthma education. I know that there's kids in this school that have asthma and that, like we said earlier, they know about it, but they don't know specifically what they could do to help a student, I guess, when they're having an asthma attack or something like that.
Okay, now it's counseling in psychological and social services, and I talked with Emily Cruz about the psychological and counseling program in this school, and it was about 66%, and those points are really fully in place in the central here. They collaborate with the staff and identify and refer students who are victims or
Lisa Johnson, would you call the office, please? Lisa Johnson, call the office.
perpetrators of violence. And however, there are the few points, partially some parts are in place, however not fully. So those are except the knowledge of the relationship between eczema and the psychological aspects. I was even kind of wondering how the eczema is really relate to children's mental health. So I kind of searched and then what is it? Oh, the American Lung Association said that the symptoms of eczema might affect children's their treatment impact or self-esteem, and also stress and then depression impacts for theirs.
So did you have to pick an ailment? I mean, is asthma your...
It was one of the questions out of 16
Really?
questions. It was 2
Because
questions that
to
were
And it
me-
usually
Oh.
carries over throughout the modules, and so
Okay,
Yeah.
because I'm sitting here going, of
Yeah.
all the things that we deal with kids,
yeah.
asthma keeps reoccurring, and I'm going,
Yeah, they
it's
really
not
focus
our
on,
most prominent
Mhm.
issue.
What is your most prominent issue here?
Yeah.
Lack of focus,
Lack of focus.
yeah, ADHD,
Oh.
attention
yeah.
deficit.
And they give out a lot of medication for that.
Some yes, some no. It all depends. It's more, I would say the bulk of our kids are treated more with behavioral interventions rather than
The health related
medicine.
medicine. Okay, so those are the 4 points, the recommendations to improve more healthier and a safer environment for the central school. Identify students who are having eczema through their medical history behind. And also educate and promote students and self-care, consist them about eczema and train staff to recognize their needs. For the weakness, I noticed there was a perfect and really good, and really like their the counseling environment. School is really children friendly, and also, however, those are affected by physical activity and nutrition relate to their psychological impacts. They were kind of separate things. Mrs. Cruz said is the PE activities, their PE teacher's job, and psychological is kind of our job. I know those are the two different things, but when you think about it, it's kind of related, and they might affect children's education behavior also. So the first one recommendation might be create a team to provide special assistance to children with obesity, diabetes, or eating disorders. Involve teachers, PE teachers, and also parents if they want to, or counselors to talk about an open question-ended questions and how can they bring the importance of the physical activity and nutrition importance to home and to relate to the children. And kind of make a fun yoga day or kind of laughter play events for the children and parents, kind of the events. Yeah. And the other recommendation would be create a policy to prevent staff from using unhealthy foods as a reward. I know sometimes teachers give, this is Halloween or someone's birthday, let's eat, today you guys can eat candies or chocolate kind of things. It might negatively affect health consequences for the children, so it kind of a little change to price vegetables or fruits or kind of sticker instead of just candy or chocolate.
As you know, for the final 2 modules, I met and spoke with you, and so this will mostly be a review of our conversation there. Health promotion for staff, there was many deficits in this category, which we spoke of. Weaknesses included special programs for staff on health, physical fitness, emotional stability, tobacco use, and then again, there with the asthma management.
Again.
I don't know how big of a problem asthma would come up or be for your staff, and we discussed
to
that.
someone.
Yes. And so some of those weaknesses did include those things. And we did talk about how the property, is tobacco-free, and we kind of discussed that as a group, as a unique thing, because how could it be a weakness if it's not allowed whatsoever? But then we did talk about the availability of teachers to leave the property and things like that, and so still, instilling those tobacco use cessation ideals would be a positive thing as well. So one of the recommendations concerning staff health would be promoting a healthful living point system, kind of competition between the staff, voluntary participation. Obviously, they should also feel encouraged to do so in a way that, because we talked about a lot of things within the school itself, that there's cash prizes and other
our
prizes,
wellness
and
does a lot of that, but it's not. It's our wellness committee that does it.
And we talked about how that itself has been encouraging in the past, so I feel like the same thing could be encouraging in this instance. And you can compare these placements monthly, weekly, whenever you all get a chance to come together and discuss other things. It could be an aside there. Points would go for physical activity, and it would also go towards sustaining non-tobacco lifestyle. For Module 8, we talked about family and community involvement, and this also scored quite low. Just a lot of times when we were talking about educating the families on their parenting strategies or their family involvement in meal planning at the school. And I was encouraged by the fact that you emphasize the fact that the community and families love to get involved in the school, but the educations from the school out towards the family on their home lifestyle wasn't as stressed, and that was something that was highlighted in the index. So for this weakness, I thought something that could be easily done and kind of a baby step in towards getting this education out there would maybe see the need for it in the first place. And if, and I'm aware that you would hold in-service days off where staff might be here but students would be out of school. And maybe opening up hours of availability to your office, other, advisory positions that we spoke to within this project, to be able to talk to them and see where their needs are right now, and if there is something you could improve from your end, getting education out to them. I just think that might be an unknown thing right now that you could explore. Yeah, these are the key points from each module, which we have discussed previously. Some of them we believe to be pretty easy fixes, others would take some work and may not be feasible immediately, but are definitely goals to work towards. You can see with Module 1, we have the violence and suicide education, health education, we have those management trainings. Module 3 with physical activity, promoting that outside the classroom, like Dwayne pointed out, and within nutrition, asking parents to maybe plan ahead more towards their nutrition for their child. Module 5 with the school health service. You know, that asthma education is a really big deal, as well as the community resources coming in, which it sounds like you already have some of those in place already. Module 6 with counseling, just some more specialized training to identify some more specific needs where students may be falling through the cracks and may need a little more attention. Module 7 with my health promotion is that point system that could be an encourager for the staff to get them more involved with health and physical fitness. And finally with Module 8, just opening up availability to parents to see if you could be doing something more in that area. And we would really appreciate feedback from you to see how you
I was going to say, can you send me a copy so that I can share with Lisa and Tori, since they couldn't be here?
Yes, of course.
Because they would, I'm sure they would like to see what your final production is.
Yes, very much so.
All right, I guess my question is what did you learn?
I learned that maybe my idea of a school performing highly in one section wasn't exactly the index's idea of what performing highly was, because from our conversation I was very confident in your abilities to do those things, and I felt like what you were doing was important, and then the index didn't reflect that, and so I found a conflict
rigid,
with
wasn't
that.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty rigid, which was kind of frustrating, but
But it's on a broader scope. It's on a broader scope and probably a national scale.
yeah,
So
definitely.
it's not taking into consideration any kind of local stuff.
Yes, yes.
Anybody else? Anything that was just an aha for you?
I just thought the criteria that this project asked was very interesting. Some of the questions were like, why does this apply to an elementary school?
Sure.
How is this going to determine how healthy this school is? What does this have to do with anything? But other than that, just to see all the different areas on what makes a school healthy. And
Because you did the nutrition one, you know, was it not, you know, when we comply with the federal standards, which are very stringent,
very.
I mean, did that not attribute a whole lot to where we were on the scale in that area? Because we don't have much wiggle room in the nutrition
Exactly,
area.
and that's probably why it was so good, because as I was talking to her, I would ask her the questions, and before I could even finish it, she was like, definitely, we do that, we do that, we do that.
Yeah, we just don't have hardly any flexibility now with the new standards.
There were a few questions that I ended up leaving out because they didn't apply to, and it had to do with preparing raw meat. I asked her that, and she kind of just gave me a crazy look, like, we don't even deal with that.
Yeah. No,
So
I think everything pretty much
it's
goes
pre-made.
through.
Also, I thought it was interesting, she actually told me that she didn't have a degree in nutrition. She actually had a degree in elementary education, I believe, and she was telling me all the things that she's done before she got to this position, and like a bakery. So I just thought it was interesting that she could hold that title without.
And you just told me something that I didn't know. I didn't know that Candy didn't have her degree in either food service, you know, administration or nutrition, whatever. Wow.
I wasn't sure, and that's kind of what I wondered. I was
Because
like,
she is really knowledgeable.
she is. That's
You
what.
would never know that.
That's why when I asked her and she told me, I was just really surprised.
Yeah, you would never
That was towards the
know
end.
that. Wowie.
But yeah, she's done a lot that made her. She
Yeah,
seems like she's doing.
Your secret's safe with me.
And I did notice that within a lot of the questions, there was implied rigidity from the state and from even nationally. And so, you know, I think that in a lot of those areas that it was that way, that if you weren't performing in that, you wouldn't be operating. Like, you wouldn't be able to be as
We all have
awesome.
to
Yeah.
stay at a certain level, yeah. How about you guys? Anything that, any ahas, anything that just you looked at and went, wow, I didn't even think of that in terms of a school?
When I talked to Shahidi, she said something about wanting to involve maybe a rock climbing wall that she
Oh,
was
yeah.
talking about.
It's her project.
It's her project. That's what she said too. She said, I think for something for like little kids and stuff like that, that would blow everyone away, and they would love to do
Yeah.
that. They would love to go to PE. And one thing that stood out right now is that all the students love their PE. They said there'd be kids walking by while we were talking outside, and they said, "Oh, hi, Mrs. Shahidi, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
love PE." So,
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that sounds
Yeah,
really
she does a really good job.
Yeah.
That's good rapport with the kids.
mhm.
Anything that's
I was surprised at
Awesome.
how the counselor, she was really confident that how the school whole, the staff is supporting individuals' behavior and also the health problems within the school, not only just the students and teachers and then parents, but also individual teachers and students. It was kind of interesting to hear from her,
Yeah.
and it was really nice.
And just so you know, in the beginning, who's your instructor, Sally?
Sally.
Yeah, told me it was just PE nurse, myself, and food service.
Okay.
When you talked with the I didn't know they were involved.
Mm-hmm.
So she was just very kind because she had no idea. She
Oh.
knew nothing about this because she
Oh.
wasn't one of the people that I was told needed to.
Oh,
Participate.
I apologize for that.
Yeah,
We
I
weren't
sent her
aware.
email
Yeah.
earlier before I
Did you?
visit her.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
that's maybe
I'm
she
just
get an
telling
idea
you,
kind of
she was.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Everybody else knew you were coming eventually.
Oh, maybe
She's the only one that would not have had a clue.
Okay.
She would not have had any idea of what you were doing
Oh, yeah.
and that you were a part of a bigger thing.
Yeah.
So I told her after the fact, she said, I was taking you to talk to you. Really? So anyway, so I apologize to you just because she would have been the only one that really didn't know what this was about. So anyway, sorry about that. All right, well, thanks for your time. Thanks for
course, thank
sharing
you.
it with me. And yeah, if somebody would just email it to me even.
Oh, yeah.